Hi guys, Gary JLC here, back on another video. Today's video is rather special for me. I have been looking forward to this for a while, planning it for a while. So today's video is all about my conversion of some of my cars to full-on rally cars. And what do I mean by that? Well, lots of clearance in the suspension so I can do jumps. And I've achieved this by modifying some of my GLAs. So I started off with this one, which hasn't got all the decals on yet. But this is a standard 98mm GLA, which I've modified by increasing the ride height and beefing up the shocks a little bit. So this is a standard spec GLA that I've modified to give it more clearance. That's what I started off with. But I found the standard spec servo is possibly not quite strong enough to handle the knocks of going over jumps. So this is the final version. The other one will be modded up to match. And this is a 90mm GLA, and I shall take off. Let's just show you the steering in action here. So you can see I've already fitted lights on it. I will be fitting a third light across the back, so I've got a third high position brake light there. But that's to come. That's just more exciting stuff I want to do. So you can see we've got a good steering range. Being it's the GLA, you do get a good steering range compared to a Mini Z, so that does help with the rally driving. Let's take the lid off and you can see inside. So at the moment the spec on this car is quite beefy. I've put a lot into this build. I've got, let's go through everything one by one. I've got a titanium servo. So this isn't the smaller size servo that you get with the GLD as well. This is it's almost double the thickness of this servo, and it's the titanium gear with the alloy servo horns, so it's got that real rigidity. That servo is quite beefy and it can handle going over jumps, keeping your car in the right direction, and it won't break easily. I've done about 50 or 60 laps around my makeshift rally course, and this car has held together beautifully. Okay, so that's the main thing. I think that's the most important upgrade in terms of steering. It is the servo and the servo horn. In terms of the shocks, I've got the fully adjustable shocks with the metal pistons, which just give it more fluidity. The springs I've got here are, I think, the second softest you can get in the standard GLA pack, and the front ones are the super soft with the purple you can see marking on there, which give the front end that little bit more softness when it lands. Now, apart from that, let me just turn the car off. You can see I've got the lights kit in there. Let's just unplug that. It's another lights kit that Colin did for me. But the Subaru here is also done by Colin over at CS Designs. So the full spec, what have we got on here? Well, I've got the alloy steering arm. Let's just turn off the transmitter. So the full spec, what have I got on here? Steering bell is alloy. I've got alloy diffs. These aren't necessary, I've just put them in for overkill. I find them easier to adjust, but the standard diff, I mean, ultimately you want to lock the diffs almost to make it like a proper drift car so that this car drifts over the bumps. So I will be doing that in the next video I make about this car, where I'll put fixed diffs in front and rear. I have tightened these up quite a lot so they're quite firm, you know, as you can see. Alloy knuckles, what else have we got on here? Alloy rear hubs. Okay, the motor is a 6000 kV SURPASS hobby motor, so it's not anything particularly fancy. And the gyro is not an endpoint adjustable gyro, it's just a standard gyro. I find for these all-wheel drive cars it's not as important. And to be honest, with this car I didn't even put the gyro on initially. It handles so well, it drifts like a dream. I think the extra ride height, almost the weight transfer, is something special. On the track, I added the gyro in literally at 10-15%, just so when you go over those jumps to make it easier to come out of them. I'm sure with a bit of time I can drive this without a gyro at all on the course, but certainly for drifting on just normal surfaces, you don't need a gyro for this car. The spec is so perfect, and it's only 90mm. It's not a long wheelbase, yet it handles so sweetly. Now next I'm going to try and show you the ride height on this. So what I'll try and do is put it on something so you can gauge that it's quite high off the ground. Let me just get that into focus, sorry guys. So you can see that is pretty high off the ground. If you compare that to a regular Mini Z, so if we compare that to this Celica here, and this is one that is slightly higher with the shell, but you can see with the plastic, sorry, you know, that's probably got about 4mm clearance off the ground. I think I've got more like nearly 10mm clearance with this car. Okay. Now what that enables me to do is to push this car to the limits. It can go over surfaces that a normal Mini Z can't, and a normal racing GLA wouldn't. And why have I done this? Well, I love these rally shells, and I just felt like I wasn't really getting the most use out of them. And although they look great drifting on the hard surfaces, with the drift track, I just felt like I wanted to do something a bit more special and make it a bit more challenging. It does take the speed out of the driving, because with the jumps, if you go too fast, you're going to end up toppling over, so you have to maintain some control. And it brings an element of one of my favourite sports, rally driving, into my mini car driving. So yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I've done it. Any of the challenges I faced with this, so the particular extra things I had to do to get the ground clearance, I almost forgot to mention, is I've adjusted the arms. So where I've adjusted them, let me see if I can show you. Okay, now normally there's a screw. Let's see if I can focus in on this. There's normally a screw that goes here to control the ride height, and what I've done is I've actually thinned out on the arm the plastic here so the arm drops lower. Okay, I want to zoom in on that just in case I don't pick it up in editing. So you can see that there. I have taken the screw out for now. I will be putting it back in, but this is my first attempt at modifying a car fully for rallying, and I'm going to have a video all about how to do these modifications. But yes, that's been adjusted. The plastic's been thinned so the arm will drop lower. I've done that on the rear as well. So on the rear I've still got the screws in place, as you can see there. Now I've done this rather shoddily here, but I'll be doing a much tidier version in my other cars, and my plan is to do this for my other Subaru 2008, which is 94mm, so I'll probably build a 94mm GLA for that car, and I'll probably do the same for any other rally shells that I've got lying around. So yeah, this Celica will get converted to a GLA, and also the I think there's a Skyline rally car as well, that R32, I think I'll convert that as well. Now some of you are going to be asking, well, how can we do this with a Mini Z? I think it's possible, but you'd need the rear double wishbone, definitely. On the old MA020, Atomic used to do a front double wishbone kit, and I've got that on one of my cars. So I'm definitely going to convert that so it can do rallying. But one of the cars that's quite easy to do this with is the WL Toys. So this WL Toys here, I am going to do a video on WL Toys soon. I've left it a little while, but I've got a lot of mods coming. So the standard car that you get, the K989, comes as a rally car but has thick tyres for the ground clearance. But there's no reason why, when this one's heavily modded, you can't thin down the rest plate here and here to get more vertical drop with the wheels and give you more ground clearance. So that's definitely a mod I will be doing with the WL Toys. And certainly I think these cars are pretty tough and they can handle a lot of jumps and bashing. So yes, that's going to be a video coming later on. But WL Toys, yeah, I think that's going to be a good one for a rally car. And I think the standard car, the K969 with the fixed diffs, the metal base plate gives it a bit of weight. I think that's the only thing this car is lacking. You could almost do a little bit more weight so that it just kind of acts more like a scale rally car when it goes over the jumps. But I'll see what I can do with that. I have got the softest springs on at the front, but still it kind of bounces a little bit. Despite the grease I've put in the shocks, I still get a bit of bounce. But I'll let you watch the footage and see what you think. But I'm super excited about these things. It was a lot of fun drifting these around and going over jumps, and just watching them go over sideways, it just brings back memories. So guys, you've seen my larger scale cars that are rally cars. I've got the XV01, I've got the HPI RS4, Micro RS4, and this was just something to add to the mini racing aspect of things. So in terms of what I think of the spec setup for this car, this works really well. I mean, this is handling the jumps, it's doing what it needs to do, a bit of fine tuning needed. The 6000 kV motor is perfect. I don't need to go any higher than that, so I'm pretty happy with that. And otherwise, I don't need to go censored setup with this car. I'm happy with the standard brushless speed control that comes with the GLA. Main thing I think is the servo here that will do with the upgrading. The radio I'm using is my NB4, my trusty NB4. and the battery is the standard GL Racing 360 milliamp battery. Overall, I think where this car comes into its own is, again, its durability. The GLA is a pretty tough, solid car. I think the rear-wheel drift cars we run a lot of the time are a lot flimsier, but these GLAs are built pretty solid, and so far I've not had to worry about any steering arms popping off, and I've not had any issues with anything breaking. Oh, actually guys, I forgot, I always do this. I forgot an important upgrade I did at the front. I actually put the universal double jointed drive shafts in. So these are the shorter ones for the 90mm car. You can probably just see them there. And I've done that just for extra durability with the steering, because of the angles it's at and the ride height I've got it set at puts more pressure on the drive shafts. Just an additional point on the steering angle. I think in previous videos you've seen I had to modify the GLA to get the optimum steering angle. Well, this 90mm setup using this servo and the aluminium arm and with the overmount, so this is the other option that was different to standard. The standard comes with an undermount. With the overmount, the steering angle is actually perfect. So I'm actually getting pretty much full lock in both directions. And again, it's way more than you get with the Mini Z. So I think you can get away with standard shafts, but like I said, guys, I've run this for a good, 60 laps on my drift course. No issues so far. I'm using DS Racing drift tyres, LF5s. I've waxed the surface of the track. The rest, I'll let you see what you think. And guys, I'm thinking about changing the format of the videos and becoming more present on the camera. Let me know what you think about that, and I'll leave you with the drift footage for now. So guys, that was my rally version of the GLA. Stay tuned for more videos, and if you like what I do here, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys all next time.